how to divide a polynomial. The reason why we need to know how to divide a polynomial is you know how to factor quadratics, probably pretty good, but you're going to have to start factoring x to the power 4, x to the power 5, x to the power 3 ones. So you have to have a method, and then once you get down to the x squared equation, you'll say, oh, this is easy because it's just factoring at that point. Okay, so since division by 0 is not possible, we assume the divisor is never 0, meaning, do you see this x plus 2 that we're dividing? We're assuming that x cannot equal -2, otherwise we can't actually divide it. Before dividing, write the polynomial and the binomial divisor in decreasing order. This is very important. Just like when you're doing division, you can't just put the numbers wherever you want. It has to be the hundreds, then the tens, then the ones, you know what I mean? So use 0 as a placeholder if the polynomial doesn't have a specific term, meaning if it doesn't have an x squared, you put a 0x squared as a placeholder. And then, of course, to check division, you can always multiply the quotient by the divisor and then add the remainder. So we are going to divide this by long division. So do you remember how we did the previous long division question? Okay, so what we did is we said, how many times does x plus 2 go into x cubed? So how can I make it x cubed? Times it by x squared. So x squared times this whole thing gives me x cubed, this whole thing, plus 2x squared. Does everybody see how I got that part? I'll refresh your memory on how we do long division again. I said, how many times does 13 go into 27? It didn't really go into 27. I found the nearest thing to 27. That was the 26, right? And that's how I got the 2. So that's the same thing I'm doing over here, is how many times does x go into x cubed? I said x squared. I know it's going to be something else, but I just kind of go with it. So then x squared times x plus 2 gives me x cubed plus 2x. Is everybody good? Then what do we do after that when we did our long division? We subtracted. So back in the day with grade 9, grade 10, instead of subtracting, we just switched the signs and then just followed the signs, yes? So meaning I always go minus, minus, just switch those signs. So that means this cancels. Oh, look at that. Does that mean we're done? No, now we need to go, how many times does x go into minus 5x? Minus 5. So then again we multiply. Minus 5 times that is minus 5x. Minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. Huh? Now I need to subtract. So remember I said switch the sign. So now this is both minuses. So I'm going to make a plus. And then what happens when you combine these two? This will cancel. And then what do I get with the minus 6 plus 10? The 4. You get a 4 as a remainder. So now what we're going to do, we're still with the question, we're going to label the components. So which one is the dividend? Do you remember which one's called the dividend? Huh? No, that's the quotient is the result. That's the dividend. Okay, if we don't know a dividend, let's go to divisor. Which one's the divisor? X plus 2. Okay, so we know that. So that part is the divisor. Okay, which one's the quotient? Huh? X squared minus 5 is the quotient. And 4 is the remainder. So can anybody tell me what the dividend is? This part, the inside part, is the dividend. You should know all these terms, okay? So we are now going to express the division in the form of the polynomial is equal to the quotient times the divisor plus the remainder. So I don't know if we have enough. So the polynomial, which was x cubed, I can't really read it, plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to the quotient, which I found was x squared minus 5 times the divisor, which was x plus 2, plus the remainder, 4. Okay, so what we're going to try to say is, does everybody see that this is equal to that? And if you don't believe me, let's FOIL this out. So what's x squared times x? X cubed. Then outer I get plus 2x squared. Then inner I get minus 5x. Then last I get minus 10 plus 4, and that combines to be the left side. Does everybody see that that is true? Another way to represent the answer is the polynomial divided by the divisor is equal to the quotient plus the remainder of the divisor. So that's how I wrote this. I said the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. Okay, so meaning I can write this as x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6 divided by x plus 2 is equal to x squared minus 5 plus 4 over the divisor, like that. So I can write my answer like that. Or I can write my answer like this. Okay? So either way is an acceptable answer, unless the question tells you another way to write it. A quicker way is synthetic division. Synthetic division uses only the coefficients to divide things. And I'll show you how that works on, well, we could do it here actually. I'll show you how synthetic division works. So what we do is we put the coefficients of x cubed 2x squared minus 5x minus 6, 1, 2, minus 5, minus 6. Does everybody see? Okay. So if I'm dividing by this, what I do is I set that equal to 0 and solve. So I'm actually, this is in the form x minus a if you want. So my a is what I'm actually using for my synthetic, which means my a is negative 2 for that to be a plus 2. So I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to put a minus 2 right there. Takes a little bit of practice. Once you get good at synthetic division, it's pretty fast. I caution you, once you like synthetic division, you'll never go back to long division, but you have to know how to do both. So, okay, the first step is always dropping this to here. That's always the first step. Whatever that number is, drop it down. Then what you do is you multiply your a by what you drop down. So negative 2 times 1, negative 2. Then you combine. So what do we get? What's 2 and minus 2? 0. Then we multiply. Negative 2 times 0, 0. Then we combine. Minus 5. Then we multiply. Then we combine. And the last digit is always our remainder. So what this represents here, these numbers, this is your constant, this is your x, and this is your x squared. And if there was another number, it would be your x cubed. So this represents 1x squared plus 0x minus 5, and this represents the remainder 4. That was our answer up there, wasn't it? Okay, so we're going to practice this now, okay? Next question, we're going to do it two ways. We're going to do long division, then we're going to do synthetic. So long division says we put x plus 1 into 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x minus 1. We always make sure we put it in order, decreasing order, and if there is a term missing, we put a 0 there as a placeholder. Okay, how many times does x go into 3x cubed? 3x squared. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so now what's the next step in long division? We multiply. 3x squared times x plus 1 gives me 3x cubed plus, 3x squared. Does everybody see how I got that? I just multiplied 3x squared times x plus 1. Now what do we do? Subtract, and I always switch the signs. I suggest you do the same. Okay, so these will cancel. Does everybody see those will cancel? That should happen. Otherwise, you picked the wrong number. The next one, what's negative 4x squared, negative 3x squared? Minus 7x squared. Bring the next term down, so plus 2x. How many times does x go into minus 7x squared? Minus 7x. What do we do next? We multiply. Minus 7x times x plus 1 is minus 7x squared minus 7x. Then what do we do? We subtract by switching the signs. Now we combine. What do I get? These cancel. That should happen. What do I get here? We get 9x. Then we bring this 1 down. How many times does x plus 1 go into 9x? 9, right? So then we get 9x plus 9. Then we subtract. Yes? These cancel. That should happen. And what's my remainder? Negative 10. So then you can write it as minus 10 over x plus 1, and then that's your final answer there. Does everybody see how I did that? Okay, synthetic division. Remember, we write the coefficients. So that's going to be, I'm just going to erase all these dots here. 3 minus 4, 2 minus 1. Yes? Then we make kind of like a box, but not really. Yes? Now, what is going to be my a? Minus 1. Does everybody see my a is going to be my minus 1? Because in synthetic division, this is x plus, sorry, it's in the form x minus a. X minus a. No, it's, you have to compare this to this. So what does a have to be, right? You know what some people do, which it works, but it's not the correct thing to do, is they set that equal to 0 and solve. It's supposed to be that you're using the a here in the form x minus a, okay? So anyways, first step in synthetic, drop the first term down, right? Then what? Multiply, so then minus 3. Then what? Combine, not subtract, combine. So you get minus 7. Then you multiply, you get plus 7. Then you combine, you get 9. Then you multiply, and then you combine, and that last one is your remainder. So do you see this represents 3x squared minus 7x plus 9 minus 10 over my x plus 1. Same answer that you get the other way. Just a different method of doing it. It works no matter what. Okay, I want you to try the next one. The only glitch with the next one is what? It's missing a x squared. So what was the technique I told you to do? Put a 0 in its place. Very good. Okay, try it. Okay, so x minus 2 goes into x cubed plus 0x squared minus 3x minus 2. So x squared. So I get x cubed minus 2x squared. I got to switch the signs. Bam, bam. That cancels. I get a 2x squared. I bring that down, minus 3x. So then I get a plus 2x. So 2x squared minus 4x. Again, I switch the signs. I see some people not taking my advice on that. These cancel. Then I get x. I bring that down. I get minus 2. Then I get plus 1. I get x minus 2. I switch the signs. Bang, bang. Guess what? They all cancel. I have a remainder of 0. So that's my answer. So that question number 12 on that homework assignment, when you divide it in that natural logarithms assignment, that means you would get no remainder. So anyway, synthetic would give you 1, 0, negative 3, minus 2. My A would be positive 2 this time. Did you get positive 2 this time? Yeah. 1 gets dropped, then you 2, then 2 gets dropped, then a 4, then 1 gets dropped, then a 2, then you get a 0. Look at that. Same thing. X squared plus 2x plus 1. Same answer. Okay, let's try the next one on the next page. What's wrong with this question? There's no square and it's in the wrong order. So be cautious of that. Okay. So this is 4x cubed plus 0x squared plus 9x minus 12x plus 2. 4x squared. 4x cubed plus 8x squared. Switch the signs. Once you get good at this, you can go really fast at long division. The thing about long division is long division works no matter what, whereas synthetic only works when it's in a certain form. So that's why I caution you. X plus 2. So anyways, x goes into that. Minus 8x, yes? Minus 8x squared minus 16x. Switch the signs. So then you get 25x. Bring that down, minus 12. So that would be plus 25. 25x plus 50. Switch the signs. So minus 62 is my remainder. Ooh. Okay, synthetic again would be 4, 0, 9, minus 12. And that would be a minus 2. So 4 minus 8 minus 8. 16, 25 minus 50 minus 62. Same answer.
That is not.
4x squared minus 8x plus 25 minus 62 over x plus 2. Okay, so I mentioned the fact that synthetic division doesn't necessarily work for all forms. It gets a lot more complicated if the binomial is not in the form x minus a. So for instance, if you have, say, 2x plus 3. And some people try to do it that way. They have minus 3 over 2 as their a, but then now you're working with fractions, whereas long divisions you wouldn't. The other thing is, what happens if your divisor was x squared minus 5? So then you have to do long division, right? Okay, so you need to practice your long division, because long division doesn't work for all, okay? I'm sorry, synthetic doesn't work for all. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to example 3, our last example, right? If f of x divided by g of x equals that result, we need to figure out what f of x and g of x is. There should be one that jumps out at you right away like Lucas got, right? Luca. Sorry. So, and what was that, Luca? Yeah, g of x has to be the x minus 1. Okay, so then after I know that, what could we do? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do what? We're going to multiply it. Yeah, we're going to take the 4x, so f of x is going to be whatever 4x squared plus 4x minus 3 times x minus 1 is. Does everybody understand that that would be the case? So if you don't, let's go back to that first page here when we did long division with numbers. Oh, one more page. We did long division with numbers. Does everybody see if I take 13 and times it by 211, I would get a number that is 5 short of 2748? Yeah? Okay, so it's the same thing over here. Oops. Okay, so when I multiply these two together, right, I'm going to get a number that is not quite what I need. So does everybody see? I have that extra remainder there. I'll have to minus 6 to it at the end. So, do you remember how to do this? This is from grade 10 now. This is not a FOIL. It's like a long multiplication, or you could just say it's a distributive property. Probably the easiest way to do the distributive property is take the x and start multiplying that times that times that. Then the minus 1 times that times that times that. Yes? Okay, so I'll give you a moment to multiply that out. Okay, so 4x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x, and then minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 3 minus 6. So I get 4x cubed minus 7x minus 3. Did you get that? Okay, so how do I check to see if I'm right? We could do long division. What's faster that everybody loves? Synthetic. So what would I put in synthetic? 4, 0, minus 7, minus 3. And what am I dividing by? X minus 1, so it's a 1. So 4. Drop it. 4. Drop it. So do I get their answer? 4x squared plus 4x minus 3 with a remainder of minus 6 over x minus 1. Yes? See, everything should work, right?